And Tanajan Mahabua gives a talk in the public. There's certainly one topic. The topic of Raga Tanha, the topic of sensual desire. And he doesn't go very lightly on it. And it's called in the terms of precept sexual misconduct. He warns the people over and over again. Here in Thailand it's common to have a mia noi, to have a wife besides the main wife, or a little wife. Well, in the Western society it's more or less common as well. And when he talks about the topic, he gets very upset. For one reason. He asked the man, how many wives do you need? 10, 100? And then he asked him, how many dicks you have? 1 or 10 or 100? But he asked the women the same thing. You have 1 vagina, so 1 man. 1 dick, 1 woman. 1 part. And that's it. Where are you from? Thailand. Indonesia. There's a reason. Sexual misconduct is not something one just looks upon it. One just takes as one's wishes go or as one's pleasure go. Be faithful to one's partner, and that's it. We don't look for bars for scrap in the bars and other places. It's so common in our society or in the Western society or in this society that he always refers to and he always warns the people. He says, to use one's money or to use one's power to have a lot of wives or a woman to have a lot of men, this is the certain ticket to hell. And to the hell, I don't know where he got his numbers from, but I'm sure that he's right. He studied Pali, so he knows the book. He said, somebody who indulges in this kind of sexual misconduct, uses his power or uses his money or just any kinds of means to seduce the other sex, he will be in hell for 60,000 years. 60,000, not 60, 60,000. But before he goes there, before he comes there, or stays there for 60,000 years, it takes him about 60,000 years to go down to that place. And then once he stayed there for 60,000 years, it takes him about 60,000 years to go up again, to come back to the human realm. So don't take it lightly. It's not something that we play around. These precepts, all the precepts, are things that the Lord Buddha gave us for our own protection. Not to go down into these states of hell, not to go down into the lower realms. Into the animal realms, to come back from the animal realms takes a long, long time. So don't behave like an animal. And we do have that saying in the West that he's behaving like an animal. So, where will he go after he will die? That's where he probably, or most certainly, will land. Don't take the precepts very lightly. It's a long time that we are down there. And it's not fun. It certainly is not fun. To be down into these states of hell is not fun. Normally I don't raise this topic. Because I know from my own Christian upcoming, they always try to scare us away with hell. Don't do this or you go to hell. Don't do that or you go to hell. But the reasons behind this weren't really logical. At least not for me. So that's why I don't bring up this topic very much. But Thanacha Mahabodhi, whenever he gives a public talk, he never lets go of this. He always admonishes the people to keep their precept, and especially not indulge into sexual misconduct. And that is very popular. It's popular in the West, and it's popular in the East. So don't even think about it. If you have a partner, just be happy with this one. One woman is enough, one man is enough. There's no need for another. It brings you down to hell, you can be sure. And it will be a long, long time before you wake up and come back to this human realm, or maybe another realm. It's the same thing with killing one's father or killing one's mother. These are the deepest deeds. They lead to the deepest realm of hell. For 150,000 years, you are in solitary prison in the hell. There's no one else, just you alone. 150,000 years. When you kill your mother, when you kill your father, when you kill an arahant, when you draw blood from the Lord Buddha, or when you split the Sangha. These are the 5 gravest deeds one can do. And one can do that in one's life within 2 hours. Just within 2 hours, one can deeds that lead one to hell for 150,000 years. So don't be careless. Don't be unmindful. Be very careful about what you're doing. Be very careful that all your deeds, all your thoughts, and all your actions are within the line of the truth. There's one example that I remember from the scriptures. There was the wife of King Bimbisara. When she was taking a bath, her little dog came up and licked her vagina. And she didn't stop that dog. She had closed the door, and her husband wanted to come in and asked her what she's doing so long. So she lied to him. These 2 things, just these 2 things. When she died, she went to hell for 7 days. Just these little things. So when the king asked the Lord Buddha where his wife is, she must be in heaven because she was a good person. The Lord Buddha remained silent for 7 days because he knew she was down in hell, and he didn't want to make the heart of the king grave. So he didn't tell. After 7 days, he told her she's in heaven. So just this little misdeed. And how many misdeeds have we done? Quite a few. Just in this life. So be careful. Now from now on, be careful of what you're doing. We can do a lot of good karma within 2 hours, but we can do a lot of evil karma within 2 hours. Within 2 hours of our lifetime. And we have about 70 years. So we can do a lot of karma. That sends us down to hell for a long time or brings us up to heaven for a long time. So be careful. So that leads to another topic. Think about, or now take the opportunity, while you're here, to think about what you want to do with your life. What in the end do you want on your hands that you can take with you? You know the body is gone. So there's no need to utterly care for this body. It goes its own way. It's going to decay. From the moment on, now it's going to decay. It's a rotten or rotting corpse that will one time take the last breath. So what do we want to have on hand when we are going to face death? Whatever we gain in material forms, we cannot take with us. We know that. Whatever we develop in terms of good karma, we can take with us. Whatever we develop in terms of bad karma, we will take with us. It sticks to us. It sticks to us like glue to us with a super glue. We cannot take it off. All the good karma goes with us, and all the bad karma goes with us. And the time of the death is the time of the decision, where we are going first. Are we first going down to hell, or are we first going up to heaven? Once we are up in the heaven, then we have to go to hell. If we are first going to hell, and then we might go up to heaven. And once in a while we come back to the human realm to make all that karma that leads us up to heaven or hell. That's a nice perspective, isn't it? When are you going to end this kind of circle, this kind of roller coaster? Up and down, up and down, up and down. It takes a long way to go up. It takes a short while to go down. You know that. You all have been on a roller coaster. You know, you all have swum in the sea with the waves. Going up is slow and going down is very fast and very deadly. So make up your mind what you want to do with your life. Do you want to just to develop some good karma that might heave you up into the heavenly realms, just only there to wait for 100,000 years to go down in the hell? When Tanajan Mahabua talks about his previous lives, he talks that from the heaven he went down, straight down to the hell. From the hell he went straight up to the heaven. And that was very often. And once in a while he was a human being. Or other beings. Or in other realms. So if that's what you want, well then certainly make sure that you're going to heaven. And that means if you want to go to heaven, you have to keep at least the 5 precepts, if not the higher precepts. And not only this, you have to do a lot of bun. Bun is you have to do a lot of merits to get there. Merits in the form of generosity. Not only in material form of generosity, but all sorts of generosity. So it's a hard way to go up to heaven. There's actually another story that I remember just now that was of a wife in the heaven that had to die because of her merit was vanishing. So she was determined to go back to her husband that is still in heaven. And so she was born as a maid, and she's just served 70 years. She just served other people with her hands, just to get back to the heavenly realm. She didn't want anything for herself. All the time she was waiting to come back to her husband. So when she died after 70 years, then she went back straight to her husband. That asked her, "Where have you been all this afternoon? I haven't seen you around." So the times in the heaven are a bit different from the times, or from the perspective of the times here in the human realm. But just this shows, how much we have to do. And normally none of us is so devoted, just to serve his life for other people. So it's not so easy to get up to heaven. it's much easier to go down to hell. And that reminds me of something else. Ananda was asking the Lord Buddha of how many people are going to heaven and how many people are going to hell. Then the Lord Buddha said, Ananda, do you see that bull over there? How many horns does he have? And how many hairs has he on his back? The hairs on his fur or on his back stand for the people who go down to hell. And the horns stay for the people who go up to heaven or to Nibbana. So that's why Tanaja Mahaboa always asks his followers if they are the hairs of the body or if they are the horns. If they want to be the horns or if they want to be the hairs. Because if we want to be the horns, we certainly have to do certain things. It's not only that the Lord Buddha said. If we know it from our Christian teaching, even Jesus said, the masses are going through the big door that leads down to destruction, and only a few going the stony path that leads up to heaven. Well, I just give this for your own consideration. Don't take it lightly. The Lord Buddha gave a better example. I don't know how many hairs are on the fur of a bull. Probably 5 million or something like that. But the masses, of course, as the Lord Buddha saw, cannot be taught. The ones who can be taught are the few ones who have only little sand in their eyes. But they can go both ways. They can go the way up or they can go the way down. So I put it into your heart to decide what you want to do with your life. If you want to do something, if you really want to do something valuable, if you really decide, if you really consider it very carefully and you decide that you want to make the way out of samsara, out of this roller coaster, then you have to do certain things. To enter the stream that leads you out of all this mess has 3 main fetters. The first fetter is the fetter of doubt. Doubting that there's heaven, doubt that there's hell. Doubting that there is Nibbana, doubting that there is merit, and doubting that there is evil karma. Good karma and evil karma. Doubting that our actions will not have any effect. The law of karma is the law of cause and effect. Whatever we do now, right now, whatever we think, we do, or we speak, will have an effect in the future. Whatever we receive just right now at that moment is the result of our action, of our past. So there is, how to say that? So we shouldn't blame somebody else for the misery we're just in right now. If we want to blame somebody, then it's just ourselves. Because we were so unmindful, or we were so delusioned that we brought that upon ourselves. So whatever we experience right now, remember this well. Whatever we experience right now is just the result of our previous action, of our past action. We might, sometimes we even can remember them because they have their origin in this life. Most of the time we cannot remember because they have the origin in previous life. But if you just take it, and say whatever comes, let's make the best out of it. Just let's make, if it's misery or if it's sadness, if it's bad feelings, just don't make us the same mistake that will lead to this in the future again. And just don't react on it. This is something that brings much more satisfaction in our life than to look for somebody, a scapegoat, to blame for our misery. And this scapegoat, we are so clever. If it's not the father, or if it's not the mother, if it's not the family, and then it's the village, or if it's the town, or it's the government, or it's this country or that country. You find scapegoats all over the place. And the Germans are very good. They found the Jews to be the scapegoats for their misery. So they eradicated it. And now they're going to have the good karma of this evil deed. Enjoying it down, most of them down there in the hell realm. So that is certainly not the way to react to our karma. The proper way to react to our karma is, how can I deal best with it? And how can I not, or how do I have to change my actions, my way of thinking, my actions, in order not to produce this kind of karma again? And then we have turned something that seems to be a stone or seems to be a mountain of misery into something that we actually can handle. Something that we can change. Something that we can make better. And then we don't think about all the misery, we just think about only the way how we react best to it and how we do not produce it in the future. And that takes all the burden out of it. And it will produce, in the long run, it will produce quite good effects. Because we eradicate in this way our bad karma and create new and good karma. So, let's go back to when we really want to go, when we really decide, when we see our lives and we think that we are not going on to be reborn, or that we not want to learn to walk again, or learn to speak again, or learn to think again, or learn to behave in the proper way again, or go for 12 or 15 years to school and university, not going through all the shit before we come actually adults and can do, quotation mark, whatever we want to do. If we don't want to do it, then we better get on the path to deliverance, on the path that leads to the stream, to entering the stream that leads us to Nibbana. And as I said, the first path, the first fetter, is the fetter of doubt. Doubt that there is heaven and hell, doubt that there is karma, doubt that there is Nibbana, and doubt that there are good effects and bad effects of our actions. We just take them, even if we don't see it for ourselves, we just take them and do not doubt them. They exist like the moon exists. If we care to look if the moon exists, it doesn't matter, the moon still exists. If we live in a cave for all our life and we have never seen the moon and sun, they still exist, if we believe it or not. So just give it, how do you say it, give it the way of doubt, or just do not doubt that they do exist. That is the first fetter. The second fetter is actually that what I talked in the beginning, Silabbata Paramasa, the constant fiddling with the precepts. Constantly, today I keep them, tomorrow I break them, tomorrow it's more now it's more convenient, to break them because I want this and or I want that, but tomorrow I will keep them again. This is fiddling with precepts. This is Silabhata Paramasa. This is constantly fiddling, constantly scratching a wound so it never can heal. Either I take the precepts or I don't. But then I better be sure that the result will be likewise if I don't take them. So, taking the precepts, and then as long as we have mindfulness, we can keep them. And we are willing or we are determined to keep them. That will cut down the second fetter that will bind us to the realm of rebirth. And the third fetter, that is a more difficult one. That is the belief that I and the body are one and the same thing. That the body is me and I am the body. It is like having the notion, being born in a car and die in a car, that the driver and the car are one and the same thing. We just don't get out of this body so easily. That's why we believe it, that we are this body and the body is we. But the moment the driver looks and finds the door to open the car and gets out and sees, that's a car and that's me. In our respect, that is the chitta and that is the body. We have to get this understanding. We really have to understand it. Not up here, but down in our heart. So we have to teach our heart by getting out of this body and seeing this is the body and there is the chitta. They are two different things. The body has nothing to do with the chitta. And the body is not part of ourselves. This is it's a more crucial or it's a more difficult thing to do. So the Lord Buddha gave us an example for how to do it. He said, there's a vacuum. But once we put the vacuum into planks, into nuts and bolts, where is the vacuum? The vacuum, the moment it is in its bits and pieces, it just completely disappears. The moment we put it together, the vacuum reappears. And it's the same thing with the body. The moment we put our body down in front of our eyes, in front of our inner eyes, put it bits by pieces up, either neatly or completely in a mess, each part of the body, in front of our eyes, until there's nothing left of this body, but there's still something sitting on that cushion or on that place. Then we see, when we are mindful, in just this 1 second, that the body and the chitta are two different things. But we have to be extremely mindful to see that once the last bit and piece of the body gets out, that the sense of I just disappears for a mind-second. And with that, we understand that the chitta and the body are not one and the same thing. And that is one exercise we not only have to do once, we have to do it 10, 100, 1,000, 1,000,000 times, until the heart understands. The brain has understood it after 10 times, and it doesn't want to do that exercise anymore. But that doesn't help us. If we would understand, if we could understand, or if it would help us to understand all of the teaching of the Lord Buddha with our brains, nobody of you needed to be sitting here. It's no use to understand, because the root of greed and hate and delusion is within our heart. So our heart has to understand. The chitta has to understand. The chitta has to really understand that the body and the chitta are two different things. That the body is just the body. And it has nothing to do. It's an occupational form. Be it now as a human body, or be it as an animal body, or be it as a heavenly body, or be it as a body in the hell realms. There are two different things. This is one thing we have to understand. If we really want to get out. If we are sick of getting back always in the same mess. Always having to learn, always having to train. I was pretty much sick, going to school. I didn't want to learn all these subjects. And just thinking about it after I went to school, to go back to school, that was just too much. Or going back to university, or whatever. Just learning and learning and learning. And how much time do you have left? Maybe you then, after you finished your degree and you can certainly earn your money and buy a flat or buy whatever you want, that lasts for maybe 10 or 15 years, and then you get old. Then the body becomes sick, or the body gets old, and it just does not work the same way. People who are young don't believe it. I didn't believe it myself. The moment you're over 45, you feel it. You suddenly these things are failing. Things that used to work all the time, suddenly, just fail to work. Your knee just failed to work, and you stumble over. Or this, or your back, or this, or that, and then the teeth are coming, and this is coming, and this is coming. And that continues until we finally give up this body. So people who are older do know these things. They just things are failing. Just like in an old car. The older the car gets, the more often we have to put it into the repair shop. Until, it's beyond repairs. That's how we say it, and then we put it on the scrapyard. Oh, isn't it? And then we buy a new one. Okay, fine. And then we have to train it again. And then it becomes scrap again, and then we have to buy a new one. But if we don't have enough merit, or if we don't save enough money to get a new car, well, then we have to walk. And that is hell for people who are passionate drivers. So, think about very well. These three fetters that I explained are the fetters that, if we undermine them, if we cut them so fine, that then when we enter samadhi or a deep state of samadhi, these fetters may break. And then we enter the stream. So I guess it was enough of a serious talk. So. But I put it, anyway, I put it into your hand. Think about very careful what you want to do with your life. And to go up to heaven, it's not that easy. To be staying as a human being, it's easier, but it's still not easy. At least we have to keep the 5 precepts. And we do not know what we have done in our past life. That is hidden from us. So maybe there's some heavy bad karma waiting in the background to bring us down to hell. We never know. Or maybe there's some good karma that brings us up to heaven. We never know. We don't know. Unless we know our previous birth and our previous karma, and we understand the law of karma, what leads to good rebirth and what leads to bad rebirth. But we can protect ourselves as long as we don't seek the way out of this roller coaster. We can protect ourselves from now on that we keep. Under no circumstances are we going against the 5 precepts. And we try to do good. We try to be generous, we try to develop respect, and we try to develop gratitude. And if we do that for a while, not only for this life, but for the next life, that will mean that in the end we will develop good karma. That will not lead us, or most probably not lead us down to the hellfire. But we have to do something. To do evil is easy. To do good is difficult. Isn't it? Or at least it said so. It said so in the Western language. We always have a phrase for it. It's easier to go down than easier to swim up the river, isn't it? To swim against the stream. And the stream, in our society, in this society, is just going the wrong way. Just don't follow the mainstream, because the mainstream will lead to destruction. To our destruction, to the destruction of the people. Destruction in the sense that they're going to the lower realm. And I don't think anyone of you consciously wants to go there. We all think. And just don't think that Christians always think if they believe in God, they go to hell. Where are they going to be? They go down to hell. It's just the same way as the good Buddhists who think they are, how great of a Buddhist am I? They just go the same way. Just believing in Buddhism, or believing in Christianity, or believing in God, and not fulfilling, when you're a Christian, not fulfilling the Sermon on the Mount. What is the same prerequisite, or pretty harsh prerequisite, as a prerequisite for a Buddhist, to stay as a human being, have the right to be called a human being, keeping within the 5 precepts. Yes? But we are nearly finished anyway. So I put this to your heart. Please remember this and ask yourself what you want to do. And what you want to do, is it going to be in the right direction? Does it bring you good karma? Well, if it brings you good karma, then just go on. If you want to end the mass of suffering, or if you at least want to start to end, then you have to do some serious work. And it starts, and you know how difficult it is just to train the mind with the word Buddha. How more difficult will it be to get the body in bits and pieces, to understand the true nature, that the body and I are not one and the same thing. That the chitta and the body are like the driver and the car. The chitta can use the car as it wishes. The car itself has only the objective, to put the chitta around to different places and to do this and that. Because the chitta doesn't have any legs to walk. So it needs a form of body, to enjoy the sense. To go here or to go there. Okay, and then with this I'll end. Sorry for being so serious, but sometimes one has to talk about the subject. It's more fun to talk about samadhi and having a preview of nibbana than to talk about the hell realms, especially if we are Christian. We are all being warned all the time long that we go to hell. Well, we go anyway, more or less. The Christians and the Buddhists. Nobody's better. The Buddhists here in this country are no better than the Christians over there. They just believe, they just believe in the karma and hell realms, but they don't follow the precept. Nor do the Christians. They say we are so Christian, we do it in Christian. In the name of God, we kill people. Yes. Well, that's what we do. Oh, well, that's what the Christians do. In the name of God. Or we have the right to kill other people. Nobody has the right, even to harm another being. Not even a human, not an animal. We have no right to kill animals. We have no right to kill human beings. And we don't have any right to harm other beings. No matter what our God says. Okay? Now I'm really going to finish. If you have questions, then just